The mysterious origins. Coca-Cola is one of the most recognized brands in the world, but its origins are far from the wholesome image it promotes today. The drink was created in 1886 by John Stith Pemberton, a pharmacist and former Confederate soldier who was addicted to morphine due to injuries sustained in the Civil War. Seeking a substitute for his addiction, Pemberton formulated a drink containing coca leaf extract, which naturally contained cocaine, and cola nut, a source of caffeine. He called it Pemberton's French wine coca, marketing it as a medicinal tonic. However, when Atlanta imposed prohibition in 1886, he reformulated the drink without alcohol, giving birth to what we now know as Coca-Cola. Cocaine and the early recipe. What many people don't realize is that early Coca-Cola contained actual cocaine. This wasn't unusual at the time, as coca-based drinks were marketed as medicinal remedies. For years, Coca-Cola contained about 9 milligrams of cocaine per serving, which contributed to its early popularity. The drink was advertised as a cure for headaches, fatigue, and even morphine addiction. However, as concerns about cocaine grew in the early 1900s, the company faced pressure to remove the drug. By 1904, Coca-Cola began using spent coca leaves, which had most of the cocaine extracted, but traces of the substance reportedly remained until 1929. Racial controversy and the war on cocaine. One of the main reasons Coca-Cola removed cocaine from its recipe was rising racial fears in the early 20th century. Racist propaganda in the southern U.S. claimed that black men consuming cocaine were becoming violent and attacking white women. The media fueled this hysteria, leading to stricter drug laws and pressure on Coca-Cola to eliminate cocaine from its drink entirely. The company complied, but it maintained its connection with the coca plant. To this day, Coca-Cola imports coca leaves through a special arrangement with the U.S. government, with the alkaloids being extracted for medicinal purposes. The Coca-Cola Company's war tactics during World War II. Coca-Cola expanded its global reach in ways that were both strategic and ethically questionable. The company worked closely with the U.S. government to ensure American troops had access to Coke, setting up bottling plants wherever soldiers were stationed. This not only boosted morale but also solidified Coca-Cola as a symbol of American culture worldwide. However, what is often ignored is that Coca-Cola was also being sold in Nazi Germany. Rather than risk losing the German market, Coca-Cola's German subsidiary created Fanta in 1941, using ingredients available in wartime Germany. While the company distanced itself from the Nazi regime after the war, its willingness to adapt and profit from both sides remains a dark chapter in its history. Exploitation of labor. As Coca-Cola expanded globally, so did reports of its unethical labor practices. In South America, particularly in Colombia and Guatemala, labor unions accused the company of violent union suppression. In the 1990s and early 2000s, reports surfaced that union leaders at Coca-Cola bottling plants were being intimidated, kidnapped, or even murdered, allegedly by paramilitary groups with ties to plant management. While Coca-Cola denied direct involvement, human rights organizations have continued to raise concerns about labor abuses within the company's supply chain, environmental damage, and water depletion. Another major controversy surrounding Coca-Cola is its impact on the environment. The company has been accused of depleting water resources in developing countries, often at the expense of local communities. In India, for example, Coca-Cola's bottling plants have been blamed for severe water shortages, particularly in rural areas where clean water is already scarce. Activists have reported that some villages saw their wells run dry due to Coca-Cola's excessive water use, leading to protests and plant shutdowns. Despite its marketing efforts promoting sustainability, Coca-Cola remains one of the largest contributors to plastic waste worldwide, producing over 100 billion plastic bottles annually. The health crisis and manipulation of science. Despite marketing itself as a refreshing and harmless beverage, Coca-Cola has played a major role in the global health crisis. With its high sugar content, Coca-Cola has been directly linked to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. However, rather than acknowledging these risks, the company has actively worked to manipulate public perception. In the 2010s, Coca-Cola was caught funding scientific studies that downplayed the role of sugary drinks in obesity, and instead shifted the blame to a lack of exercise. This was reminiscent of tactics used by the tobacco industry, where corporations funded research to cast doubt on well-established health risks. Coca-Cola's attempts to influence public health debates continue to be exposed by watchdog organizations. Coca-Cola and political influence. Coca-Cola's power extends beyond marketing and sales. It has deep political connections that allow it to influence policy in its favor. The company spends millions on lobbying efforts in the US and other countries to oppose regulations on sugar taxes, plastic waste reduction, and labor rights. It has also been linked to corruption scandals, including allegations that it paid bribes to government officials in several countries to secure favorable business conditions. Coca-Cola's ability to evade stricter regulations and maintain its dominance in the beverage industry highlights the extent of corporate influence over governments worldwide. The marketing machine and cultural influence. Coca-Cola's disturbing history is often overshadowed by its brilliant marketing strategies. The company has shaped popular culture for over a century, from inventing the modern image of Santa Claus to sponsoring major global events like the Olympics. It has positioned itself as a brand associated with happiness, family, and nostalgia, making it difficult for the average consumer to see the dark side of its operations. The company's ability to create emotional connections with consumers has allowed it to weather numerous scandals while maintaining its status as a beloved global brand. The future of Coca-Cola. Despite its controversies, Coca-Cola remains one of the most powerful corporations in the world. However, growing consumer awareness of health, environmental, and ethical concerns has put pressure on the company to change its practices. In recent years, Coca-Cola has made public commitments to reducing plastic waste, lowering sugar content in its beverages, and addressing human rights issues in its supply chain. Whether these efforts are genuine or merely a way to maintain its public image remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: Coca-Cola's history is far more complex and disturbing than the cheerful advertisements would have you believe. Coca-Cola is more than just a soft drink. It is a symbol of corporate power, cultural influence, and global controversy. Its history is riddled with questionable practices, from its early use of cocaine to its involvement in labor exploitation and environmental destruction. While millions of people continue to enjoy Coca-Cola products, the truth behind the brand serves as a stark reminder of the dark side of corporate success.